All right, let's go over now to Parliament, where they are debating the Imposition of Restrictions Bill, which gives legal backing to the President's directives issued recently on COVID-19.
Honourable Member, why have you resumed your seat? You stood up, I gave you the floor.
Yes, so I'm rising to
contribute.
I'm rising to contribute to the motion on the floor of the House. And in I'm not seconding. Yes, Speaker,
Yeah,
I am not seconding because I have a dissenting view.
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, after a motion is moved, the motion must be seconded before it becomes competent for us, for the entire House, to debate the motion. The member who has just sat down, when he got up, said, Mr. Speaker, I second it. Mr. Speaker, he has not taken his words back. He said, I second it. It's for the record. Mr. Speaker, he has not taken his words back. So that's what he said. It's for the record. If he's now saying that he's not seconding, he wants to retract, that's a different thing. But that is what he has said, for the record.
Yes, Honourable Ranking Member.
The Speaker, I stood up to contribute to the motion, but my attention was drawn to the fact that I could not contribute to the motion without seconding it. And I feel constrained in seconding the motion. So if I had said that I second the motion, I take my words back.
Yes, Honourable Member for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this Honourable House adopts the report of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the determination of the agency or otherwise of the Imposition of Restrictions Bill 2020. Mr. Speaker, at the time His Excellency the President addressed the nation, first, the coronavirus had not hit the country. Subsequently, when His Excellency addressed this nation the second time, the situation had changed. Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, the situation has also changed. I do not think that any of us in this House would agree that we are in normal times. Indeed, the President himself has indicated that we are not in normal times. That is why it is more germane that we treat this bill with all the urgency that it deserves. We cannot, as a nation, stand by for this virus to overtake us before we do our duty as legislators. I will therefore plead and implore all my colleagues for us to adopt this motion, this report, so that the bill can be taken in accordance with Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution. I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the debate on the floor of the House. And to say that the opposition to this bill being taken under a certificate of agency is founded on our standing orders, on the Constitution, and the practice of the House. The Speaker, we are being told in the report that this bill is intended to provide a broad framework to deal with future occurrences of a similar nature. Mr. Speaker, if you are intending to lay a framework to deal with future emergencies, I think it is only fitting and proper to take steps to build a resilient legal system, a resilient regime to deal with that. And that's why we ought not to take this under a state of emergency. Under a certificate of urgency. Mr. Speaker, the second most important point is that this bill, in the way that it has come to this House, clearly excludes many requirements that must conform to the Constitution. The requirement that the fundamental rights of the citizens of this country must be respected and upheld at all times, except when the law provides for the rights of a person to be taken away. And that law must be the taking away of that right must be in accordance with procedure. Mr. Speaker, the bill in its current form has no procedural limitations on the exercise of powers which can overreach the enjoyment of fundamental rights of a person in this country. And as Parliament, we need to take time. We need to take time to provide.
Hold on. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the report before us is the determination of the urgency or otherwise of the referendum. My colleague now, where he's going, he has already started to debate the principle as if we are doing a second reading of the bill. Mr. Speaker, he's jumping the cat. And Mr. Speaker, if we don't prevent him from doing what he's doing, somebody is saying he should subject himself to quarantine. But Mr. Speaker, on a more serious note, I think he's jumping the cat. We are not there yet at all. Where we are now is whether the bill fits the decision that you took, whether it qualifies to be taken under a certificate of urgency. That's all. But we are debating the principle already. We are not there. We are not there.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I've heard the Majority Leader. This is the Parliament of Ghana, a guardian of fundamental human rights and freedoms. The matter before us is an onerous one of an amendment to the 1992 Constitution, so speaking, by an enactment. What is not true? Mr. Speaker, whether agency or not, Article 21, 4C and D, are they my words? They are constitutional. So what are you talking about? So I'm saying the letter from the Attorney General and the letter from the President, the ranking member is justifying why, in his view, this matter be not treated as urgent. It is not about the principles. He must provide justification. And Mr. Speaker, you've been here when I conveyed to the people of Ghana that under these extraordinary circumstances, the President deserves our collective support. But in giving him that support, we will not give him that unfettered powers and freedom. If you want us to look at this matter with a national perspective, we will do. If you want us to do it with a partisan perspective, we will do. But let's be reminded that the people of Ghana, the citizens whose trust we have today, are concerned about how this parliament can secure and protect their life and safety. They are not interested in our partisan debate. So what the ranking member is doing is to justify why he doesn't consider this bill urgent. And in any case, read the report of the committee. He said we shared a view that we are in dissent. And he used the word, the chairman, he said they perceived that it is unconstitutional. He must now lead the debate to justify that perception, why he thinks that it's unconstitutional. And Mr. Speaker, on this matter, we should proceed cautiously with the people of Ghana in mind. There is no winner in this matter. We've been in government too, so you can't frighten us about being in government and being in majority. We've been there. Mr. Speaker, I say if you want us to approach this matter divided, we will encourage you to do that. Okay, go ahead. Leave the ranking member to justify why he thinks that it's not urgent.
Honorable Minority Leader, thank you. Now,
Mr. Speaker, I am speaking to the report. And the concern was raised about the absence of checks and balances in the bill, which is contained on page 2 of the report. And I'm saying that is why we do not need to take this bill under a certificate of urgency, because we need to provide for checks and balances. Mr. Speaker, we also, when we're looking at a bill in total and the examination of the urgency of the bill, we saw that the President can, by an instrument, an executive instrument, provide for applicable offenses and penalties. We saw it in the bill. The President can, by executive instrument, provide for offenses and penalties. Mr. Speaker, I do not know whether Parliament will cede its power of law-making to the President. And that is why, and to be more specific, Mr. Speaker, it appears that that particular provision, clause 2, subclause 2E, violates in fundamental terms Article 1911 of the Constitution, which provides that no person, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, let me refer you to Article 1911, which has gained some notoriety in the courts, which was first taken to the courts, to the Supreme Court, by the learned Minister for Interior. Mr. Speaker, Article 11.
So what you're just watching is the minority arguing why they don't believe that the imposition of Restrictions Bill 2020, which will give the legal backing to measures announced by the President to minimize the spread of COVID-19, has to be treated as under a certificate of urgency. I'm joined on the line now by our parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Now, Joseph, we know that minority has been holding this position for a while now, virtually all day. They've been talking about the fact that they're going to argue against passing this bill under a certificate of urgency. They're doing exactly that.
Yes, and it looks like they are likely to lose the debate in the end. because per the committee's recommendation, even at the committee level, they did lose the debate because this is the 25-member committee. Funny enough, when they start to consider this, there were only 15 of them at the committee sitting earlier today. And out of the 25, about 11 of them are minority MPs and about 14 of them are majority MPs. But this morning, when they start to consider the issue of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, only 15 MPs were present, 10 of them on the majority side, 5 on the minority side. So the committee voted for approval of the document being passed on the certificate of urgency by a 10-5 majority. And it looks like right on the floor of Parliament, that's exactly what will play out, because when the debate is done and Inu Safuseni is done and other MPs contribute to the discussion, the Speaker will hear from the leaders, the majority and the minority leaders, and then the issue will be put to a vote. And clearly, the majority have the numbers, and despite the minority's opposition, it's very much likely that the House will approve that the document be taken under certificate of urgency using the powers of the majority.
Now, Joseph, initially, when this bill first came up, we heard the minority say that they were willing to work or cooperate with the majority to see this passed as quickly as possible. Where is that all gone?
So the minority MPs are insisting that they think that they should even have been consulted, even as the document was being drafted. They say that wasn't done. And then they ended up seeing a document which makes no reference to the issue of the coronavirus, and they say that they are again seeing a document that gives unfettered access to the president to just make use of executive an instrument to restrict freedom, and they think that that may result in a president abusing that for a number of purposes, including political. And so they say unless the government considers withdrawing this document, rewording it, and ensuring that Parliament provides some level of oversight, even as the President is given the power to introduce executive instruments to restrict freedom, they cannot count on the support of the minority MPs. What they're saying now is that they are in support of any measures to help deal with the issue of the coronavirus, but for now, a document that, when eventually approved, would give unfettered access to the President when it comes to restricting freedom is something that they will not be tolerating. And in fact, earlier in the day, the Information Minister, Kujopo Nkrumah, in a media interaction, he's also the MP for Kwasia Irebi, and he's also a member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. He indicated that they, on the government side, are actually appealing to the minority that they should reconsider their position. And they just need to give the green light for this to pass under the certificate of urgency. At the level of the consideration of the bill itself, there will be opportunities for amendment, and they can introduce anything else that they think is out of place. And it looks like the minority is not buying that, and they would want to take this debate to the very far end that they will be able to carry.
All right. Now, Joseph, one final thing before you go. Yesterday, we heard the Speaker say that they were considering spacing out the seating in Parliament so that in respect of the WHO guidelines on social distancing. Is that happening?
As we rightly saw, even as we broadcasted proceedings from the floor, that has not happened. The Speaker's point was that they were considering even using portions of the gallery so that then some MPs would move there, and then right on the floor, there will be enough spacing for the MPs to be able to do the assignment. That actually hasn't happened. Funny enough, the MPs on the floor itself, it's actually not come up for a conversation, except that the MPs again make the point that they would want to see enforcement of processes to protect themselves. For example, earlier in the day, the majority leader of Saiti Mensabun mentioned 2 members of parliament. The member of parliament for Ayawasu East, Mahama Nessa Kure, as well as the MP for Quinturi, that's Robert Kwanleb Nab. He indicated that these are MPs. One of them has been in India, the other has been in Japan. They are getting back into the jurisdiction, as well as 5 parliamentary staff. They've been out in Nigeria, and he indicated that he's serving a notice to them that they should go into self-quarantine for at least 14 days before they show up on the floor, just as a way to protect MPs. And he made these details known when the health minister was on the floor, and the health minister requested that he would want to get details of the said 7 people so that then he would pass it on to the public health team so they follow up with these individuals and get them to go into self-quarantine so that then they don't end up showing up in Parliament and inspecting members of the House. So it looks like when it comes to discussing measures that need to be taken to protect MPs, those conversations have been ongoing even up until today. But funny enough, the real act, including rearranging the seating in the House as the Speaker directed yesterday, has actually not happened.
All right. There was also the issue of the disappearing hand sanitizers. Has that been resolved yet?
For now, the indication is that the CCTV cameras and all, as the majority leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Mensah, who directed, are up, and that the necessary monitoring is actually ongoing, so that then anyone who does that will be caught. For now, no one has been caught. Looks like people have paid attention to what the majority leader said and are desisting from draining the sanitizers, as he complained about, that sometimes the sanitizer stand is almost full. You look at it within an hour, you come back and all is gone. But it looks like a lot of that is not happening today, to then warrant the situation of the majority leader seeing to the enforcement of sanctions against those who may be responsible for that.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, bringing us that update in Parliament. And we'll be monitoring proceedings in Parliament as and when it is necessary. We'll be going back to the floor to listening on the debate. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking